Hi, Tony here again from Estate Planning Solutions. This week's video is about giving you some homework to make sure you've got your binding death benefit nomination done correctly. A lot of people are not aware that superannuation does not form part of your will, and that includes putting instructions in your will of where your super's to go. And the reason is that the trustees of superannuation funds have got no reason to follow your instructions because they've got to follow different rules. However, they must follow the rules of a binding death benefit nomination provided it's valid. So what's valid? Well, valid means that you must fulfill a couple of requirements, and that is you can nominate your superannuation to go to either a legal personal representative, and it may be the person you've nominated in your will, and then if it goes to that person, they will distribute it as per your will. Or secondly, dependents. The only problem is we've got 5 definitions of dependents that need to be looked at. So the first one is a spouse or an ex-spouse. The second one is anyone who's actually dependent on the member. Thirdly, children of any age, including adopted children and ex-nuptial children. Fourthly, an interesting one, it came in on the 1st July 2004, and that's anyone that has an interdependency relationship with the member. And the 5th one pops up again as the legal personal representative. Now, if this is done correctly and you have a valid nomination, the trustee of the super fund has got no recourse and must follow those directions. The only problem is that a lot of people are not aware of those definitions. And of course, the time when it gets found out is when it's too late, because super funds aren't really checking at the time when you sign, because their job is that when it comes to pay out money, they then got to make sure the definitions have been fulfilled. So that's at the time they'll check the definitions. Really important to get that right, because again, it can lead to problems. And we've already discussed in another video the problems that something like this causes. Remember, we covered the grounds with the Superannuation Complaints Tribunal, how they're receiving in the order of 3,000 phone calls a quarter, of which 30 to 40% relate to death benefits, of which people are complaining. Then the Superannuation Complaints Tribunal, because they're under-resourced with not enough money, taking an average of 1,000 days by their own admission to resolve a complaint. So we go back to the beginning. If we don't do the binding death benefit nomination correctly, it's going to lead to problems with the phone being picked up, and so the circle and cycle continues. And so it's really important that, again, you have to have this stuff looked at by specialists. You need to go and review your will. Just check whether it says, is your super included. Go and have a look at your binding nomination, pull it out, contact your fund manager and find out if you've got the right definition fulfilled. Second one is the non-binding death benefit nomination, and this one is slightly different, where the trustee of the super fund has discretion as to where the funds go. So, for example, you might have a grown-up child who's in a business that's maybe a bit shaky, and you're a little worried that if money came to them, that if they went broke, the creditors would get it. Well, a trustee has discretion to not send the money there to keep that safe. So again, this is really something that you need to have a look at closely, because you haven't been told, or a lot of people haven't been told about it. The advice is not being given about the carefulness of required with definitions. So I'd recommend strongly that you start digging out your paperwork and have a little look. If you need us to give you a hand with it, give us a call. But yeah, make sure you have a look at it, because the last thing you want is to have it done incorrect. And just before we go, I'll give you an example where a recent marriage breakup, where the husband decided that he's going to remove the wife or the ex partner, ex-spouse from his super has gone to nominate his sister. The only problem is that his sister's not financially dependent and never has been. So there's a case that is waiting to hit the Superannuation Complaints Tribunal should the man pass away and the discretion or the payment of the superannuation benefit be challenged. So good luck with your research.